Good evening, my lovely people, and welcome to another episode of The Daily Dose. Today we have a lovely guest in the studio. Well, not really in the studio because of social distancing. It's Dr. Nokukhanya Khanyile. She is currently a medical officer working in the pediatric department at Rahima Musa Mother and Child Hospital, and she has a special interest in mental health. She's part of an organization called Mental Matters, which she'll be talking a little bit about today. We're going to be talking about mental health, mental health issues currently during the lockdown, and about conflict resolution within the home. So, welcome, Nokukhanya. How are you doing?
Well, and yourself, hey, Dr. Suhail Essa.
Oh, I'm great. Let's dive straight into our topic, right? So today we're going to be talking about mental health. I know you have an organization. Tell us a little bit, just briefly, about your organization that you're part of, Mental Matters.
So Mental Matters is an organization I started with my partner, Gugu Masondo. She is a person who is living with mental illness, and she's really passionate about educating the people around her. We basically started this organization as a way to destigmatize and inform people about mental illness, but also mental wellness. It's basically to reach out to the youths and people who are in a working environment because, we're so busy. We want to be hustlers. We want to not sleep. We want to push the envelope, do multiple things, be a jack of all trades and a master of all. So we wanted to really make sure that we are prioritizing our mental health as young people so that the future of this country really has strong, independent, mentally strong leaders.
Okay, great. So I know that you do work in the pediatric department, but you obviously have a special interest in mental health, and that's what we're going to be discussing today. So just in your medical opinion and looking at the data that you've maybe collected or just observed anecdotally yourself, what mental health issues are most prevalent now currently with people in isolation, for example?
So you'll look at a lot of the anxiety disorders. So things like generalized anxiety disorder, panic attacks are increasing because there's a lot of uncertainty about what's going on. So people are not able to really point down, this is what's going to happen in the next 6 months, in the next year. There's a lot of fears around employment, around really your health in general. So anxiety gets fueled by fears. And with all of the information and misinformation that's going around, that changes all the time. I'm seeing a lot of that coming up. People who are presenting either to the casualties or either to just talking to me on social media saying, I can't sleep, I'm having eating problems, I don't know I can't work properly, I can't focus. So those are leading towards anxiety, but also those are starting to present with depressive symptoms. So it's important for a lot of people to make sure that they protect themselves by setting up schedules, etc. And we'll go into that, I'm sure, later on in this talk.
So, I mean, for a lot of people, mental health, there's a lot of stigma around it, a lot of misunderstanding. And I think it's important for us to discuss this so we can discuss this together. Because I feel that there's quite a bit of a trend almost on social media for people to express that they have mental illness. They may not have been diagnosed with it, they may not know that they have it, but it's almost like trendy to say, I'm depressed, I'm anxious. What's the actual there is definitely a difference between a bout of anxiety, a bout of sadness versus actual clinical depression or having an anxiety disorder. And maybe you can give us more insight into that.
So if you look at the WHO definition of mental health, and I'm paraphrasing here, but basically you have an individual that experiences the normal stresses of life. So like anybody who experiences ups and downs, it's about being able to maintain a level of efficiency. You're able to contribute to your community in a positive or efficient way, and you're able to deal with those stresses. So when you look at mental illness and when we actually get to diagnoses, we have people who have an element of dysfunction, either personally where you're unable, for example, in a patient with depression, to bath yourself, you're unable to take care of yourself, cook for yourself, etc., because you just don't have the energy. Interpersonally, so your relationships start to deteriorate. Socially, where you're unable to to go out in public and perform or interact with other people who you don't know in a way that's acceptable to that society. And then also when you look at occupationally, where you're unable to work because the symptoms are so severe that they're impacting on your ability to either have memory, concentration, or showing up for work, etc. So when we look at, this is why it's important to know the symptoms early, because if you can start to see that your sleep is starting to go off, your memory is starting to become impaired, it can mean that you might not have a disease as yet, but you may be getting to that point and you need to implement strategies to stop that and reverse it back to mental health as soon as possible.
Because with a lot of mental illness, psychiatry as a practice, there's still a lot of research to be done. It's probably one of the fields in medicine that we know the least bit about. In my opinion, we're still doing a lot of research. We have experimental therapies for a lot of the conditions like bipolar, depression, schizophrenia. And I think a lot of the discussion goes back to, is it genetic versus is there a certain stressor in your life that triggers the mental illness that manifests itself. So yeah, as you said, like a lot of people, especially during this time, are probably going to go through that feeling of anxiety of where am I going to get money from? Like at some point, a lot of people have probably sat and thought, my business isn't open. I don't have money. I'm just stuck at home. I don't get sunlight. Like people don't realize that there are very, very subtle things that actually impact on your mental health. So that leads me to my next question. Like, what are your sort of coping mechanisms when it comes to stress, anxiety, those types of things, your personal coping mechanisms?
So, as with anything, I have a biopsychosocial approach to my own life. So,
all right.
biologically,
okay, we can see you're a member of the Wits alma mater.
yo, no saying I live on the edge, man. But yes, I really do believe biologically my physical body needs to be strong. And I've actually started to notice that I'm actually not doing as well on my calls in terms of being able to be awake and be alert enough because I'm not exercising the way I used to. So I've tried to maintain with yoga, indoor workouts, just at least I am able to leave the house and walk around the hospital, but still, having a little bit of physical activity at home. With regards to my food, having to cook, babes, like, I didn't know I had all these recipes in my repertoire. Like, I'm looking at myself like, wow, I'm actually a wife, Like, really
well, then, I guess I must be a wife too because I've been doing a lot of cooking myself.
No, cooking, it's so well. We enjoy it a lot. And we take some recipes there.
Yeah.
But just trying to find creative ways to stimulate my palate, but also my mind, looking at the plate, different colors on the plate, playing around with it. I think psychologically, I've always been, very psychologically strong because of the fact that my spirituality in a locus of control. So for those who don't know, you have an external locus of control where, hello?
Yeah, we just got cut off for a bit. Yeah, but carry on.
Not a problem. So psychologically, we talk about an inner and an external locus of control. So an external locus of control says that things around you are going to determine how you react. So if COVID is happening, you're panicking, you're anxious. You are anxious. Excuse me. And then for me, I feel like because I've got a very strong faith and I've read my Bible quite a lot, I pray a lot, and I have people around me who also allow me to really bounce off, my fears, and they come back to us. It's important for me because then it helps build my inner locus of control. When I talk about socially, FaceTime is my favorite thing. Instagram lives are great because I get to still have my personality and talk to you, bounce off ideas off of you, hear what your opinions are, and then just really have fun with it. I think a lot of people are trying to be serious. They're trying to learn a new hobby. They're trying to do things that they wouldn't normally do. And I think I'm just allowing myself to have the process. Like, if I feel tired that day, I'm going to take a nap, but still within my schedule, sleep at the same time, wake up at the same time, do the same things in a regular schedule so that I don't throw myself out of whack.
Yeah, no, no, it's very true. I've found, I just started yoga. Probably did it like once before in my life, and I tried yoga now. That helps me. It's been helping me just be mindful of my surroundings and sort of center me. So I try and do yoga every morning for at least 20 to 30 minutes as well. As you said, like exercise, diet, even something like as simple as sunlight actually
Yeah.
lifts one's mood. So just sitting on the balcony, or if you have a space in your house, I find that that's very important. And now on to our next topic is, obviously you and I, we're both living with someone. We've discussed that people might feel anxious because of that isolation where they're away from
Yeah.
someone and away from everyone actually, and they feel isolated from the world. There's no social interaction, which is very important for us as human beings. We're very social beings. But now, coming to that, when you're living with someone and you see them every single day and you're in a very
Yeah.
close, confined space, I actually read a study recently that said that relationships or marriages that have more rooms, just more rooms in the house, statistically last longer, just because of the space. And this is obviously no lockdown or anything, just by virtue of the space that you're in, because it sometimes can be quite confined. So tell us, how do you regulate conflict within the lockdown at home, whether it be with your partner or family, because we're obviously in very close, tight spaces together, and things can get uncomfortable sometimes. So what are your
Yeah. So I think it's very easy for people who are in relationships to really set boundaries, to say, okay, well, and I think it's important that you have that conversation. If you haven't, do it today. Say to your partner, well, for example, with my partner and I, he works from home. So
mm,
when I get home from work, he doesn't necessarily stop working just because I'm home.
mm,
So he, works, and about until 5 o'clock he stops, and then he still needs his time. And I think communicate that. Tell the people you're living with that, even though I'm here, I would like a particular amount of time just for myself to go into another room, or to sit in, if you don't have that option, to sit in the same room just for myself.
mm.
I think it's important as well to communicate and do chores. Like allocate chores,
Yeah.
because wow, babes, I've washed so many dishes, and I'm not the only one washing dishes, and
Yeah.
it still feels like a lot,
I'm wondering. I'm wondering if the dishes will offer to wash me, because I feel like it's a one-way street here, and
But like, I don't understand how two people can use 8 teaspoons in the space of 48 hours. I'm just like,
it's a
how do
lot.
we do that? But I think if you communicate and say, okay, fine, you will do the chores in terms of washing dishes, ironing, washing the clothes, etc. That allows people to firstly choose, and then also have designated roles, so that if something goes wrong, or if something is not done, it's not like, oh, nobody ever does anything. We can like allocate the
Mm,
roles and
mm.
help out accordingly. I think the third thing, and it's very important, is that you need to communicate how you're feeling. So, if, for example, my partner stays at home the whole time, and I leave and I come back, I don't know what it's like for him to stay here and not be able to leave the house, except if he's going for grocery shopping. At the same time, he doesn't know what it's like for me to have to go to work, spend the whole day at work, making decisions, walking around, and then come back.
And
So
calls, yeah, yeah.
because
It's
of
always
that dynamic, I don't know what he's thinking. He doesn't know what I'm thinking. So if I just assume that it will be the same way it was before lockdown, that's when a lot of people get into trouble. So you need to communicate. So I would suggest you have one like time where you all agree this is personal time. You have another time where it's like quality time. It can be 30 minutes for families. It can be an hour if you want. It can be, hey, as a family, we're going to watch a movie. Some kind of time where we're all together and we're sitting. And if we have to talk about things, if we have to talk about an argument, talk about it, but make sure that everybody communicates in a way that's comfortable for themselves, and they're given the platform. Because it's difficult. It's so hard because we're in one space, we're in each other's space. You're using my toothbrush, but that's my thing. Why are you eating my biscuits? It's just chaotic, and you have to talk.
we do. I think communication is the most important. And then just lastly, before we take some questions after the
Yeah.
podcast recording, so I know that obviously in this time, and we predicted it. Anybody in the medical field could have predicted that, gender-based violence, domestic abuse, child abuse is going to go up. Have you seen anything, and or have you seen a sort of rise? Because I know you're working with a lot of children. What are your predictions for the future? And if someone is experiencing it now, what assistance can they get, and where can they seek assistance?
So I think the first thing is, yeah, I have been seeing it, unfortunately, and children, especially with sexual abuse, because everyone is in one space. The primary caregiver sometimes, unfortunately, still leaves the house and leaves the children in the care of someone
Mm,
else. So I think it's an important time now for parents. If you stay with your children, learn your children's personalities, look at how they are, because when you know your child's baseline, usually when the person who's perpetrating or allegedly perpetrating, or whenever they feel fear around a particular individual, when you know your child, you're able to see a change in their behavior, and then you can address that and give them freedom to speak freely. I think the other thing is, with someone who's living in an environment where there is gender-based violence. I saw quite an interesting article that said that there were a couple of things you can do. So one is, call for, if there's a friend that you call, tell your partner that you're going to call that friend, and you can use and save an emergency number as that name of that friend.
mm, mm,
That way, while you're talking to them on the line, and the person takes the phone, they can see the name and they won't get angry. That won't be a tool for them to use against you. The other thing is, if you are able to leave to a place of safety. So a family member, a friend, you can even come to the hospital, because at the hospital, if you are in a position of danger, we are obligated to help you, because and
mm.
that's a dangerous thing for me to say, because places might be flooded, but at the same time, your life is at risk.
Of
You could
course, of
potentially
course.
die if you stay in that environment. Um, and the last thing I want to say about that is, if someone is abusing you, it is not your fault. You do not deserve it. You did not make them
Mm,
angry. They should not be doing what they're doing to you. It is not right. And
mm,
therefore, you need to try and do the best you can in a situation like this. The government is helping a lot of people. So not just child support grants or disability grants, but they're actually having COVID relief grants that you can apply for. It's not a lot of money, but for someone who just needs a little bit just to help them along, it can literally save your life. And I urge you, even if you have to go in the process now, do
mm,
that, because um, literally your life depends on it. And places like the Teddy Bear Clinic, for any sexual abuse, you can call them. South African Depression and Anxiety Group has a suicide hotline. On Mental Matters, which is the page that we have for our organization, we also have a
mm,
list of numbers that you can contact and call. Even your police station, 10111, is quite a helpful number for you. So
mm.
you don't have to feel like you're alone. Make sure that you get as much help as possible.
Okay, well, that's very insightful. Thank you so much. I will share the link to Mental Matters when I release this episode. That was Dr. Nokukhanya Khanyile on another episode of The Daily Dose, discussing mental health issues and conflict resolution. Thank you guys for joining us. Look forward to hearing about what you think in the comments. So subscribe, like, and share. Peace, love. Assalamu alaikum.